Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rich Bradley, President of the Board of Public Service. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Public Service for Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. This is a public meeting and there are no lettings, but we do have one hearing which we will handle at this time. Hearing number 125755-RH is being conducted pursuant to Section 26.100.030 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis. The purpose of this hearing is to determine whether to revoke the conditional use permit numbered as 125755 issued to St. Louis Meat Market LLC CO Malik Mohammed to occupy 4164 South Grand Boulevard to operate a convenience store with cooking and carry-out food, no liquor. Change of ownership. The parties have been notified of the violations of the conditions of the conditional use permit in writing by certified mail, along with the posted notice of today's hearing date. This hearing has been convened in order to address the issues surrounding the uses which may constitute an enlargement, an alteration, or an extension in the permitted use and conditions. Numbers 4 through 6 as follows. Condition 4. There shall be no sale of items that can be used or intended for use as drug paraphernalia as defined in Ordinance 68404 or its successor ordinances, including but not limited to food scales, glass tubes, disposable lighters with pop-off tops, steel scrubbing pads and screens, rolling papers, ephedrine or pseudoephedrine, diet supplements, sleep aids, bath salts, or other substitutes for illegal drugs. In addition, there shall be no sale of cigars or cigarillos commonly used or adapted for use involving a controlled substance, examples of which include but are not limited to the following: Billy's, Dutch Masters, White Owl, Swisher Sweets, Splitterillo, Backwoods, Optimo, Garcia y Vega, and Game. Condition number 5. There shall be no temporary signage on the premise or posted to the exterior or interior of the windows or doors of the establishment at any given time. Condition number 6. The applicant must apply for and receive a permit from the City of St. Louis Building Division before posting permanent signage, and the signage must be approved by the Office of Zoning Administrator before being installed. The Office of Zoning Administrator has the burden to prove the conditional use permit conditions have not been complied with. After all evidence of the zoning administrator has been presented, the board will ask for additional testimony, if any, in support of the revocation. Then the conditional use holder will be given the opportunity to present evidence. Lastly, the board will hear other testimony in opposition to the revocation, if any. The testimony today is being recorded. When you come forward, please state your name and address and be sworn in. As you testify, please direct your comments to the board and not to those in the audience. The members of the audience are asked to remain silent and not coach the witnesses. During your testimony, members of this board may have questions for you. Following the hearing, the board will proceed with its regular agenda. Following the conclusion of the regular agenda, the board will deliberate, discuss, and vote on this hearing. The board will notify the conditional use holder of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, letters dated October 9, 2025, sent by certified mail to St. Louis Meat Market LLC CO Malik Mohammed at 4164 South Grand, St. Louis, Missouri 63118, and A&M Enterprises Inc. CO Sumar Hassan at 4164 South Grand, St. Louis, Missouri 63118, regarding the revocation of conditional use permit numbered 125755, notifying the permit holder of the violations of the permit and providing notice of the public hearing on October 28, 2025. Item 3, a copy of an email dated September 26, 2025, from Nate Lindsay, vacancy litigation specialist for the Dutchtown Main Streets, to various St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department SLMPD employees and other individuals concerning 4164 South Grand Boulevard. Item number 4, a memorandum dated October 1st, 2025, from the lead zoning specialist Andrea Gutierrez to the zoning administrator Mary Hart Burton, stating that on September 30th, 2025, Ms. Gutierrez found a violation of conditions number 4, 5, and 6 set forth in this conditional use permit. Item 5, the conditional use permit numbered as 125755 issued to St. Louis Meat Market LLC CO Malik Mohammed to occupy 4164 South Grand Boulevard to operate a convenience store with cooking and carry out food, no liquor, a change of ownership. Item 6, photographs of 4164 South Grand Boulevard taken by Ms. Gutierrez on September 30th, 2025. Item 7, a copy of the public notices of today's hearing in the City Journal dated October 14th, 2025, October 21st, 2025, and October 28th, 2025. Item 8, photographs dated October 27th, 2025, of a sign posted at 4164 South Grand Boulevard, providing notice of the public to the public of today's hearing at 1:45 p.m. Item 9, letters from Mr. Nate Lindsay, Dutchtown resident, Latasha Harvey, Dutchtown Community Improvement District Chairperson, Kaya Alfiero, along with supporting photographs and outreach and volunteer manager for St. Joseph Housing Initiative, Annie Purcell, to the board, urging the board to revoke the conditional use permit permissional use permit for 4164 South Grand Boulevard. Item 10, a letter dated October 24th, 2025, from the Director of Public Safety's designee, Karen Clifford, to A&M Enterprises, Inc., stating that the Director of Public Safety reasonably believes that the premise located at or abutting 4164 South Grand Boulevard is a public nuisance as defined in ordinance number 69730 and as amended by ordinance number 70390. And condition 11, a report of 36 SLMPD reported events at 4164 South Grand Boulevard between October 1st, 2024 and October 24th, 2025. At this time, the board asks a representative of the Office of Zoning Administrator to please come forward and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. The testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
It is.
Please state your name and the title for the board.
My name is Andrea Gutierrez, Lead Zoning Specialist for the Zoning Department.
Thank you.
Okay, can you please tell the board about the possible violations of this conditional use permit that are in question today?
On October 27th, a follow-up investigation was conducted around 12:15 p.m. to an investigation that was done on September 30th for compliance to a conditional use permit with conditions for a convenience store with cooking and carry-out food, no liquor, change of ownership at 4164 South Grand Boulevard. They were in violation of condition number 4, and the violation was there was THC in their case, drug paraphernalia, grinders that is used to grind up the weed. Behind the counter, there were bongs, tall glass tubes, rolling papers, sleep aids, Advil PM, and Tylenol PM, cigarillos, Dutch Masters, Game, and Swisher Sweets are also noted in the photos. They had signage. They were in violation of condition number 5 regarding signage. There was Swisher Sweet stand-up sign outside of the building and on the door. And condition number 6, the applicant did apply for a sign permit, but as of yet has not been issued the permit.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. So just to be clear and for the board's clarification, my understanding is that our conditional use permit holder, as of your inspection, is still in violation of conditions number 4, 5, and 6, correct?
Yes.
Great, thank you so much for your testimony. At this time, I'll open the floor up for any questions from any of our board members for Ms. Gutierrez. Okay, seeing no questions, thank you very much. At this time, I will ask if there's anyone else present who wishes to testify that the noted conditions have not been complied with. Please come forward and be sworn in. So, Monica, is there anyone in the office with you today?
There is nobody. I'm sorry.
Okay, there's no one in the office present with you. I don't see anyone else here. Oh, here, Officer Hine has raised his hand. STL TV, can you please give Officer Hine rights to speak? Okay, Officer Hine, you are here to testify in support of this revocation, is that correct?
That's clear.
Okay, and at this time, the secretary is going to swear you in.
Could you turn the camera on, please? Officer.
I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know. I don't have anything that says on camera.
Should be on the bottom of your screen that says video.
It is not there.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and swear her in, Monica.
Okay. The testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes.
Please state your name and your mailing address for the board.
Officer Aaron Hine, my mailing address is 919 North Jefferson, St. Louis.
Officer Hine, please proceed and tell the board what you would like to speak about.
Okay, so on May 8th, as you have a copy of it, the conditional use permit, it does say number 8, the premises will not become a nuisance property pursuant to ordinance 68535. Now, on October 24th, 2025 of this year, it was deemed a nuisance property, and it was posted to the building about 2 days later. So it is currently listed as a problem property.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
No, go right ahead. Please
I
finish.
have supporting evidence. I think you may or may not have gotten a copy of the calls for service for the past year. I don't know if that was given to you beforehand.
Yes, it
No.
was mentioned. It was mentioned in the evidence today that
Okay.
there were a report of 36 reported calls for service between October 1st, 2024 and October 24th, 2025. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So there's also a legend for you, easy for everyone to follow if they want. Most of these calls are going to be disturbances, suspicious persons, drugs, suspicious occupants of autos. Bottom line is this lot, either the people that work in it or they're failing to have complete care and control of the parking lot. I have multiple reports, as you see on that calls for service list, that demonstrate exactly their lack of care and control of that lot. We have on August 14th of this year, a pedestrian check, which is someone that's standing on the lot. The officers conducted a pedestrian check of them, found out there is narcotics in their pockets. They're allowed to stand there with no one telling them to move along. On September 4th, there was a report, and that's 25-34944. A car stop, which was a car that was parked on the lot. Again, they discovered drugs and a weapon in that one. So someone had drugs and a weapon in his car, which was parked on the lot. And to add, to sum it all up, on October 23rd of this year, and 3rd District officers executed several search warrants. Their information they received from watching this lot and the business that was being conducted inside and outside with the pedestrians, the people that were around the lot, they got enough evidence to execute search warrants. And they, of course, discovered multiple different types of drugs, all related to this building. It wasn't, the search warrant was not in the building, but it was the people that were on the lot, assuming they were conducting business, nefarious business on that lot.
Okay, is that your full testimony, officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for your testimony today. At this time, I'll open the floor for any of our board members who have any questions for Officer Hine. Seeing no questions from the board, Officer Hine, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll ask if there's anyone else present who wishes to testify that the noted conditions have not been complied with and support this revocation. Please come forward and be sworn in. And again, there's no one in the room with Monica, and I don't see anyone else on the screen. So if you are on the screen and I'm not seeing you, please raise your hand or bring it to my attention. Seeing none. At this time, the board asks the conditional use permit holder to please come forward and be sworn in. And it is my understanding that today, Mr. Kanzler, who is our conditional use permit holder's attorney, will be speaking for the conditional use holder. Is that correct, Mr. Kanzler?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so at this time, can you please swear in Mr. Kanzler?
The testimony you're about to give before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please state your name and the address.
My name is Jay Hansler. I'm an attorney at 2001 South Big Bend, St. Louis, Missouri, 63117.
And before you begin, Mr. Kanzler, can you please, just for clarification for the board, state the address of the property and the conditional use holder's name to make sure we're all on the same page with who you're representing today?
So I am here on behalf of St. Louis Meat Market LLC, the conditional use holder, and the permit number is 125755-RH.
Thank you so much for that. Can you please proceed?
Sure. So my client, St. Louis Meat Market, has been in business since 2018. And they received the letter dated October 9th of 2025 and came to see me. And we had a conversation. And I said, these are the things you have to do. This is why it appears you are out of compliance. And I told them to take down all of the signs. Let's start there. I thought they had done that. Apparently there's one sign left, a Swisher Sweet sign somewhere. Okay, I don't know where it is, but everything else, I don't know if Ms. Gutierrez took photographs before and after, but there were signs there. Those are all gone. There is one sign. I mean, it's like, 12 by 12, maybe 14 by 14. We'll take that down. I didn't know it was there. They also went down to the City Hall, and I have their application. They have applied for the permit to put signs up, and they have paid the fee. The application number is AB 587-834-25. That application was made on, I believe, the 16th of October, and that is pending approval, but they have not put the signs back up. So that goes to the signage and the applications. I want to talk about number 4 because this is the second hearing that I'm been at where what we have done is turn this from a conditional use permit hearing into a nuisance hearing without proper notice and without the chance to prepare for that. I had no idea this was a nuisance hearing. Okay, there's somebody talked about an October 26th or 27th letter. Today's the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that. And I didn't prepare for that. And that was not in the notice that went out to my client, which said we are going to address these particular conditional use conditions, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if the city of St. Louis wants to bring a nuisance action against this property. There is a process, there's a procedure, and then my client has constitutional rights, due process rights on how to respond to that. I don't have any of the evidence that the officer talked about. In fact, it looks like a lot of it was gathered in the last couple of days, maybe the last week.
Yeah.
So 36 calls for service, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing. That's a weekend at some places in the city of St. Louis. I go to these hearings, these neighborhood hearings, because my clients get a letter every year saying we have to meet with the neighborhood stabilization officer. I have seen them with hundreds, 300-400 calls for services. 36 is nothing. Now, we are happy to meet with the neighborhood stabilization officer. That's fine. And if there are more things that can be done in conjunction with how the lot is, how it's, we conduct ourselves on the lot and what we can do in conjunction with the police. We have cameras out there. We share those cameras. And to come in now and say, aha, we've got you on a nuisance violation without due process, without prior notice, and without even giving us the evidence in advance, I think is just unfair and shouldn't be what this board does. This board is here to hear what was set forth in the letter. Now, going to that one, what we heard from Ms. Gutierrez is that there was THC, but we have no evidence of that. Okay, what we had is hemp or CBD oil. And again, that is perfectly legal by state law. We had this at the last hearing. We spent 2 hours on it. Okay, there's no evidence that they're selling marijuana out of there. And no evidence that they're selling anything other than what is being sold all over the city. If the city wants to, it can control the sale of CBD and hemp. It may pass an ordinance which restricts the use of that. St. Louis County's been trying to get theirs passed. Other counties have passed it. The city of St. Louis can pass it. It should not selectively enforce it, however, as a means of taking stores out of business, putting them out of business because they don't like them. We had rolling papers. Okay, I don't know, but I believe Ms. Gutierrez, and we can take those out. But again, with the legalization of marijuana and tobacco, those really aren't used for narcotics anymore. They are used for legal substances. Sleep aids, when these controls, the whole point of these restrictions were to prevent those stores that used to sell single pills, single doses. It was never intended, and it was acknowledged that if you were selling entire, bottles of this stuff, then that's fine. You were just a convenience store, a grocery store selling Tylenol PM. What is wrong with Tylenol PM? I mean, you have a headache, you have a cold, you want to sleep, you want to feel better. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, as to the drug paraphernalia, once again, I do not believe that hookahs or bongs or glass smoking devices, once again, are that kind of thing. If they are, my client will be happy to take them out. If that's really what the issue is, again, I would recommend that he take them out. And they'll be out at the end of the day. I mean, it just wasn't on his radar screen. Finally, when we talk about the cigarillos and the splitterillos and all that, once again, that has been addressed. In 2019, that was something that was in all the conditional use permits. It has now been amended and understood that as long as you aren't selling them loose, as long as you are selling them in the packages, pre-packaged, there's nothing wrong with that. If we need to tweak what we are doing, then we are happy to do that. And we will work with this board, with zoning, with Officer Hine, with the neighborhood stabilization officer, any of those. And if the neighborhood association and Mr. Lindsay want to get rid of this business, then that's fine. Maybe they should step up, come to the business, talk to them first, and say, this is the problem we have. And this is what we'd like to see you do to fix it. But why is it always a person of color that we're kicking out of stores? Okay, why? That's a tough neighborhood down there. And it's not easy to provide services to those neighborhoods. And they do it, and they do it the best they can. Maybe not perfect, but what I'm asking for is they tried. The minute they got this letter, they tried to do the right thing. Now, if they have failed in some small part, let us know, and we will fix it. And if there are things that need to be done regarding the nuisance, then let's address those. And if they're not addressed, let's come back and have a hearing on that as it's supposed to be handled. But right now, it's unfair. They tried to fix this. I think you should not revoke. You should put them on a period of probation to see that they maintain what, compliance. And if they do, then we're good to go.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. I'm gonna open the floor up for questions, but before we do that, I just have a couple thoughts that I want to put out here. Is that this is not a new conditional use, and the 3 items that are in violation are not new to anyone here. Simple things like, you stated yourself, if it's a sign or it's something on the shelf that shouldn't be there, you would have them take down. I guess my only concern with the whole issue here is this has been a conditional use permit for some amount of time. And as you very well know, conditional use permits are so that, it varies the zoning to allow a business to do work in a neighborhood where it otherwise wouldn't be zoned for there. So you need to be a good steward of the neighborhood. And so I guess my question becomes or comment really becomes if these things are so simple to do now, why haven't they been done all the way along? Why is it that we have to come to this board and spend everyone's time and go through all this? The zoning department spoke to the conditional use holder. Why couldn't these very simple things, as you stated, be done previous to this hearing so we never got here? I don't understand that.
May I respond, sir?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I think you're correct in part. So we're back to 2019, and there's kind of a sense of, the new managers is somewhat younger. His father was managing, now he's managing. And what happens is you see over time that people in the neighborhood start to, if you were to go around there, all of the businesses, around there are likely not in compliance with sign ordinances. So you get this creep, if you will, a sign goes up a little bit, and it's interesting because this isn't new that these signs are there. You know what is new? The email from Nate Lindsay. An email from Nate Lindsay sends Ms. Gutierrez out, and she tries to find 3 things to shut this place down. That's why. We're not enforcing this across the board. We are selectively going out and finding violations for people we don't want in the neighborhood. And that's why we're here.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to open the floor up for questions from, well, first of all, I do want to say this. Mr. Redmond, the Neighborhood Stabilization Officer, as we're past testimony right now, I cannot recognize you. I can only recognize board members. So please, unless you're going to oppose this after this one, I cannot recognize you now. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor up for questions to Mr. Kanzler from any of our board members. Okay. Seeing none. Mr. Kanzler, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Okay, at this time, if there's anyone opposing this revocation that wishes to testify, please come forward and be sworn in. There's no one in the room with you, is that correct, Monica?
That is correct.
Okay, and if there's someone else on the call that is not able to speak, please raise your hand at this time or bring it to my attention if you're opposed to the revocation. Seeing none, the matter concerning hearing number 125755-RH is now closed and submitted. The board will deliberate this matter following the remaining agenda items. I'd ask the secretary to please call the roll.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Director Days,
Here.
Director Flake,
Present.
Director Hayes,
Present.
Director Patel is excused, Director Pearson,
Present.
President Bradley.
Present, we have a quorum. I will call this meeting to order.
Regular business from the President. Recommendation that approval be given as follows. Supplemental Agreement Number 2 to PSA Number 1261. Design of reconstruction of Taxi Lane Charlie from Taxiway S to G. Project 2 at St. Louis Lambert International Airport with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilley Inc. in the amount of $398,940.34. This supplemental agreement is amended to modify the scope of work and is authorized by various ordinance numbers to be submitted as task orders are issued. Supplemental Agreement Number 3 to PSA Number 1261. Design of the reconstruction of Taxi Lane Charlie from Taxiway S to G. Project 3 at St. Louis Lambert International Airport with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilley Inc. in the amount of $239,007.05. This supplemental agreement is amended to modify the scope of work and is authorized by various ordinance numbers to be submitted as task orders are issued. Proposed document. The policy on sign installations in street medians with the public right-of-way. Abstract of proposals received on May 20, 2025 for the public work as advertised under letting number 8788. Reconstruction of Taxi Lane Charlie from Taxiway S to Taxiway G. Project 3 at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. The lowest responsible bid was received by Millstone Weber LLC for $15,116,821.48, and it is recommended that it be given preliminary approval. From the Office of Special Events, a request for the following to be approved, subject to certain conditions. There are 5 special events to be declared as festival zone. Hot Chocolate Run will take place on Kaufman and Polker Park, North 13th between Pine and Market Street on December 7th from 7 a.m. to noon. Setup and tear down will begin on December 4th at 6 a.m. and end on December 7th at 5:30 p.m. Thanksgiving Parade will take place on the streets and parks along Market from 15th to 4th on November 22nd from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Setup and tear down will begin at 7 a.m. and end at 6 p.m. NLEC Thanksgiving with the Homeless will take place on Locust between 14th and 15th on November 27th from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. NLEC Christmas with the Homeless will take place on Locust between 14th and 15th on December 25th from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Veterans Day Parade will take place on Chestnut between Tucker and 15th Street, 13th and 14th between Pine and Market Street on November 8th from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. From the Directors of Public Utilities, recommendation that the board declares as emergency actions for the following: inline turbodimeters and chlorine analyzers calibration and maintenance at water division facilities. The estimated cost of this work is $120,000. Repair to the main air conditioning unit for the Kings Highway office. The estimated cost of this work is $22,000. Replacement of the HB filter house FPE panel board. The estimated cost of this work is $16,152. From the Directors of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that 3 applications from AT&T be approved subject to certain conditions. Application number 139 for 4200 South Kings Highway Boulevard. Application number 153 for 1601 Cochrane Place. Application number 156 for 2355 Hampton Avenue. Joint recommendation that 2 applications from Charter be approved subject to certain conditions. Application number 147 for 4175 Chippewa Street. Application number 149 for 5415 North Euclid Avenue. Joint recommendation that 3 applications from Unite Private Network doing business as Segra be approved subject to certain conditions. Application number 127 for First North Jefferson Avenue. Application number 129 for Olive and North Tucker. Application number 134 for 418 North 11th Street. We have 2 conditional use permits from the Director of Public Safety.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Sandra Long, zoning plan examiner for the city, and I'll be representing the building commissioner at today's meeting. For board order number 766 transmitted herewith are recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval with conditions is recommended for 2 applications, 3046 to 48 Watson Road, 5001 Union Boulevard. I request that these recommendations be approved as submitted.
Thank you, Sandra. Are there any questions on today's conditional uses?
Motion, Greg Hayes, motion to approve the conditional uses.
Second, Days.
Thank you, directors. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Days,
Aye.
Director Flake,
Aye.
Director Hayes,
Aye.
Director Pearson,
Aye.
President Bradley.
Aye, today's conditional uses are approved. Thank you. At this time, we'll handle hearing number 125755-RH. That is for 4164 South Grand Boulevard, St. Louis Meat Market LLC, to operate a convenience store with cooking and carry out food, no liquor. Today, we heard from our zoning inspector that as of her most recent inspection, the conditional use holder was still in violation of condition 4 for drug paraphernalia, 5 for temporary signage on exterior and interior, and condition number 6, which is apply for and receive a permit for signage before posting permanent signage. We also heard from, in support of the revocation, from St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department Officer Hine, who spoke of the reports of nuisance that happened to the St. Louis Police Department between October of 2024 and October of 2025. We heard from the representative of our conditional use permit holder, Attorney Jay Kanzler, who spoke to his and the conditional use permit holders' thoughts on what should and shouldn't be considered as part of the conditional use permit, what should and shouldn't be included in this particular hearing, and how he opined on that. And then there was no one today to testify in opposition to the revocation. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up and let the board begin with your thoughts, and then I'll add a couple as we go along. So if you have a thought, please jump in and add it. Okay.
Well, so just with the submitted information and the testimony and no testimony against a revocation, it just seems like there's some current and significant concerns. That's my comment.
Okay. Director Flake, did you have a comment?
I do. I understand, I guess the property owners council a little bit on the, legalization of weed, but I believe at least in, what is this, picture or page 7, with glass pipes. I don't think that has anything to do with weed. And it's just blatant disregard having glass pipes, et cetera, in your store, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's all I have.
That, Director Dace, did you have any comments?
Well, I just want to piggyback to that in light of all the evidence, and one of the more glaring things is that it's near a school, near one of our high schools, one of our few high schools in the city. It's very concerning to me.
Director Pearson, any comments from you?
I do not have any additional comments.
Okay, so, I guess where I come up with a little bit of concern is this, again, I give the kind of the conversation about a conditional use permit, living in your neighborhood, your neighbors should generally not know you're there, you should meld in and blend in and all these things. And not even concerning the nuisance issues. If we took those off the table and didn't even pay any attention to those at all, if you look at the three conditions that are there, and this is not an old conditional use permit, these things, and Mr. Kanzler stated himself, these are very, very simple things that should be fixed. Well, first of all, they shouldn't even be fixed. They should be in order. And, for example, he talks about a signage application on October the 16th. October the 16th this year, the conditional use permit has been in place for many years. Why? Why are we waiting until now to do this? So then it gets into this conversation about, well, everybody else is breaking the rules, so it should be okay to do that. And to me, that just doesn't hold a lot of water. You don't break the rules. You be the upstanding group. You be the one to do what you're supposed to do, and you don't worry about all the other groups. So I have some real concerns about that. And if they're so easy to fix these things, then they should have been fixed immediately, and not drug our zoning inspectors out there multiple times to do this, and not drug this hearing out so this board would have to deliberate this. You should have fixed them. You shouldn't even be here today. So those are my 2 cents worth. Any further comments from the board? Before we vote or I ask for a motion, I will let you know that, and just remind the board that this can be appealed to the Board of Adjustments if we were to vote to revoke it. So it is not a final. And at that point, there's also a mechanism where if the Board of Adjustment were to revoke it, it could also be appealed to the courts. So this is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a final say-so if we were to do that. But I guess it frustrates me when we have an attorney that comes in and wants to argue with all of us as opposed to trying to help us get things resolved quickly and keep a business active. So I'll ask at this time if there's any motion on the floor.
Motion revocation, Dace.
Okay, I have a motion to revoke. Is there a second?
Second, Flake.
Thank you, directors. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Dace,
Aye.
Director Flake,
Aye.
Director Hayes,
Aye.
Director Pearson,
Aye.
President Bradley.
Aye, revoked. Thank you. At this time, I will turn your attention to our meeting minutes from our last meeting, October 21st, 2025. Are there any questions or any comments on the meeting minutes as presented? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve, Hayes.
Second, Pearson.
Thank you, and I will call for previous roll. Is there any objection to use of previous roll?
No, sir.
Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Thank you. Today's agenda, are there any questions or comments on today's BPS meeting agenda? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve, please.
Motion, Dace.
Second, Flake.
Thank you, directors. And I will again call for previous roll. Is there any objection to the use of previous roll? Seeing none, today's agenda is approved. Before we adjourn, are there any questions or any comments from any of our board directors? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved, Hayes.
Second, Dace.
Thank you, directors. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thank you.